Hi everyone. So there's been a little bit of confusion in class about how to do the entire render setup and what it should look like and things like that. And I'm not entirely, pro at it or anything myself, but I have a general grasp of what's happening. So I've been asked to put together a somewhat of a tutorial video for you guys. I started a video and then got distracted by something kind of important, so I had to stop it. And this is attempt number 2, so let's see if we can get through this one. Anyway, so first things first. Basically what is happening is we're using the Maya render setup to pick and choose what actually gets rendered off. And then once we have each of those, we just drop them in After Effects, put them all together into one super scene, and we call it a day for our video. So a lot of the issues are coming with how do you set up what does and doesn't get rendered. So let's do that first. So first, we're going to go to render. We are going to go, I might add, this is also an older setup, so I just tried to find some older Maya scene that didn't have all these things in it or whatever, and I'm just going to use this for that. So anyway, so we're going to go to render, window, rendering editors, render setup. So this is what you should see when you get to render setup. So the first thing we want to do is we're going to isolate the bug itself and nothing else. So we're going to go to the diamond with the plus sign. We're going to click it. It's going to make a layer for us. And we're going to name this layer bug foreground. Now I want to make it kind of clear. Someone was talking to me about it, and I think a couple people were confused about what it means by foreground background. Someone thought, this foreground means so close to the camera, background means stuff that's far from the camera. What it seems to mean, to my understanding, is foreground is just the bug itself and things that are effects that are being applied onto the bug, and then background is the environment and things that the bug is affecting with its reflection and things like that. So think of it, foreground is the bug, background's the environment. Has nothing really to do with how close or far something is with the camera. So anyway, first thing we do in this layer is we are going to create a collection by right-clicking the layer and clicking Create Collection and name it Everything. Alright. Now we are going to go to our windows, our outliner. This is all our stuff. And we want to put everything that's important to the scene into this small little tab here. So we're going to go to our outliner and we're going to middle mouse click anything we need in there. So I need this wall, I need this wall, I need the floor, I need all my lights, I need the bug. And your bug might have a different name. This is just how mine is from how I named my stuff when I referenced it and things like that. Yours is probably going to be named differently as long as you get your bug in there, and that's the whole bug. So woohoo, we have everything in our everything. Next thing we need to do is we're going to take out what we don't want rendered. So we're going to right click our layer again, create collection. We're going to name this don't need, actually let's call it remove environment, because that's what it's actually doing. One names that, we know what it does, so we know this will remove the environment. So what's in the environment? That's our walls, and that's our floor. Essentially every scene we do, you're going to want to keep the lights in. Anyway, alright, so the lights go into everything, and then will probably never ever go into your remove. Anyway, so, now that we have that set up, how do we remove it? This just says, this is just essentially another collection of things we want removed, but it doesn't actually remove it. So how do we remove it? Well, we're going to come over here and click just a wall. It doesn't matter. We're going to grab an attribute called primary visibility. And when we get the attribute, it doesn't matter what we get it from. It's just essentially grabbing that attribute for use to be applied in any way we want. So if we go to this wall and pull the primary visibility out, that doesn't affect that wall only, or whatever. That it's just saying let's use primary visibility. It doesn't matter where we get it from. So to get primary visibility, we can click let's just say this wall. It doesn't matter. We go to our attribute editor. We come up to wall shape, or whatever yours is named. Gonna go to render stats. Drop that down, and you will see primary visibility. We're going to hold down middle mouse, drag it into our attributes, and let it go. Now this 2 drop downs will automatically be made. The first one is going to be what's being removed and how, or what's being affected and how it's being affected is the second one. So it automatically creates the shapes. So it's basically saying all this stuff, take the shapes and do this to it. And what is this? This is our primary visibility, and we don't want it visible. So now if we click the eyeball and click our render view, you'll see that, oh no, please Maya, don't die on me. Alright, you'll see that, hey, just our bug is rendered, woohoo! And we can, you know, click play, and we can drag it around, and you'll see only our bug is being rendered. That's what we want. Nothing else is rendered. Cool, cool. Alright, close that out. Now, we want to do the exact same thing, except remove the bug. We just want the background. So how do we do that? We're going to call this environment background. We're going to right click and create a collection. We're going to do another everything. And that's the reason we do everything is basically we're saying get all the information in the scene. Get it all. Get every bit of reflection, every light, everything. And then we'll pick and choose what we don't want to be displayed. We want it all. We want all the information. We just want to pick and choose what is actually rendered. So that's what we're doing with everything. Now, we don't want the bug this time. So what do? Like last time, we create a new collection, and we're just going to call this one remove bug instead of remove background. And what do? Again, oh, did not mean to click that. Get my outliner back out here. We're gonna just drag our bug over. And again, how do we hide our walls last time? Well, we just clicked one of the walls, grabbed our primary visibility, dropped it in here, and turned it off. So now it says our bug, take its shapes, and turn off their visibility. And we click render. Oh, whoops, need to click the eye here. Make sure you click the eye if you want to see what it is that's being rendered. And there we go, boom. We have no bug. We just have a nice little environment of our scene that is being rendered. Let me see if I can, here we go. Woohoo, just the shadow and the reflection is appearing of the bug. Yippee. Alright, now problem is, we don't want these blocks, these prototype hold placeholder walls to reflect. Because when we render off our reflections, we will have white blocks in the way. So let's get rid of those. How do we do that? Well, we click a wall, we come over to its render stats, and we just simply uncheck cast shadow, uncheck visible in reflection, and uncheck visible in refraction. Do the same for each wall, and now let's check that render. And what do you know? We are reflection free, but as you can see, our bug is still reflecting, which is what we want. Cool stuff. Alright. I'm not going to keep showing the renders, because, well, soon you're not going to be able to see anything, because it's just going to be shadows, name, and occlusion. Everything's going to be turned off, except for those things, and you can't actually see those, but when you render it, it'll obviously be there, because it's just going to make everything that's black transparent, and then you'll be able to see those, so you won't be actually see it in this. You can do a test render, make sure it's popping up, sure, but you won't see anything. So let's just proceed. So now, like I said, we're going to do shadows next. So we're going to create a layer. We're going to name this one Bug Shadows. This is just the shadows that are on the bug, not the shadows the bug is the shadows the bug is casting on itself, not the environment. So let's hit this. We're going to obviously create a new collection of everything. We're going to get everything. A lot of these scenes are honestly, or a lot of these layers are basically the same. You just change what is being hidden. So what you're actually going to see is this one. It's going to be the exact same thing as bug foreground actually. So if you can, I don't know how to duplicate these or what have you, or save them and bring them back in. But if you can actually duplicate this, you're done this one. But you got to add one thing, and we'll get to that. So anyway, bug shadows, the exact same setup as bug foreground. So got everything. What are we hiding? We're removing the environment again. And what is in our environment? Let me get my outliner back out here. I always do that. We're going to get rid of our wall. We're going to get rid of our floor. We're going to get rid of our other wall. Cool. And how do we get rid of it? Well, we just grab a wall, grab primary visibility, and drop it in. Creates this, and we turn it off. Cool, cool. Alright. Now, all we need to do, so again, this is literally the exact same thing as the last one. But what do we do? How do we get rid of it? Or how do we get the shadows? Simple. We just create a new collection. I'm going to call it Make Bug Shadows. Call it whatever you want. And we're going to right click it. And we're going to create material override. I name mine oh no. Okay, we're fine. We're going to name it Shadow. I name mine Shadow Material. We're going to override the material by clicking this checkerboard thing. And you're going to type AI Shadow. Click Shadow Catcher. And we need to drop everything in. Drop the wall, drop the floor, drop the other wall, drop our lights, and drop our bug. And there you have it. Again, not gonna look any different. But let me get my. There we go. It's not gonna look any different from this, except it's gonna be all black, because the bug will not be there also. Because what's actually happening is the bug's material. Anytime you see override, what override actually means is whatever's there, just keep it there, but block it out with this thing that's overriding it. So it basically says nothing's important but this thing that is overriding it. So in this case, we are completely getting rid of the material we have on our bug, our like robotic texture, and replacing the material with a shadow catcher, which gets all shadow information for us. So the next thing, we're going to want our environment shadows. And we're going to create a collection. Everything. Outliner back out. Get our wall, other wall. Why is this gray? I don't know, I think it's fine. Anyway, do that. Get all our lights. And get our bug. Alright, bug's there. Woohoo! And now, what are we getting rid of? Oh, we want environment shadows, so we don't want a bug. So we are going to create another collection. Remove bug. Take our bug and drop them in. And how do we get rid of the bug last time? Same as last time. Primary visibility. And uncheck. So again, it's literally the exact same setup as our environment background. Same thing, except make it the shadows. We're going to create another collection. We're going to call it Make Environment Shadows. And again, I'm going to right click. We're going to create material override. Shadow material, and we're gonna shadow catcher. Alright, I'm gonna keep moving that. So let's the test. Okay, oh, did I? Oops. Where are my walls going? What happened to them? I think I'm hiding them on accident. I keep bumping H or something. I think I am. Jeez. Luckily this will not happen to you because you won't accidentally click things. Yep, I hid them. Okay, we're good. That's why it was gray. Anyway, sorry about that. So back in here. We're going to make sure in your shadow, make environment shadow, you actually add your environment. And all the other stuff. My bad. So I totally forgot to put that in there. I think I remembered on my bug shadow. Where's that? Yes, I actually did it right in the shadow. Or on the bug shadow. So yeah, make sure in your, when you do the material override, I'm sorry about this, you bring in the stuff like last time. Cool. Cool and cool. Make sure that's actually, yeah, that worked, I could tell. Alright, again, you're not going to see anything because all materials are being overwritten by a material that's going to catch the shadows. So when you actually render this off, it'll all be transparent minus some shadows. Cool, so that's done. All our shadows are done. And again, just to clarify what I messed up was when you do your collection, make bug shadow or make environment shadow, make sure you add everything to it, and then you'll right click and do the material override. So okay, cool. Alright, last two to do. We're gonna do our bug AO. And again, I mean, I guess I can do it again. It's literally the exact same thing as both of these again. Only difference, here, I'll just do this. So, the ambient occlusion is literally going to be this exact same thing. Okay? Except, you're going to do this, and instead of doing AI shadow catcher, you're going to, oh geez, of course, let's delete this. Instead of doing, you're going to do the exact same thing, add everything, AO, make environment AO. Again, same exact thing as all the other ones, except when it comes down to making the shadow with the material override, you're just going to do material override, and you're going to do this, and you're going to pick AI ambient occlusion, and it's done. Again, same exact setup as the other ones, except instead of AI shadow catcher, it's AI ambient occlusion. Cool. And that's all done. Alright, woohoo, these are all set up. Let's just say these are all set up. I did the other two AOs. Cool. Because they're the exact same. I mean, you just set it up the same way, and just instead of material override shadow catcher, you material override ambient occlusion. Alright, done. Cool. Alright, now, we're going to go to render settings, and we're going to start with foreground. Now, back at your render setup, if this little clip, movie director clip thing is blue, that means it'll render. So if you want to do all this in one big kill, you just make sure these are all blue. If you want to just say, I'm just going to worry about the foreground right now and just render that off, do that, turn them all off with this one. So let's just say you want to do one big bulk, we'll do that. You can start with the foreground, make sure auto render is turned on, make sure this is set to EXR, it will not render. You can do whatever prefix you want. I prefer name underscore number for my file set name. Make sure you do frame 1 to whatever your 2500, whatever your last frame is. Make sure you're using the correct camera. Make sure you are, so the images he gave us were 1920 by 32. You can just set 1920 by 32, maintain aspect ratio, and then just do like 720 and cut it in half, and then resize it in After Effects when you're done. Because, you know, if you do all the render, bring it to After Effects, you could simultaneously scale the entire thing. So, cool. So that's cool. And that's all done. Now, the important part, obviously make sure your camera AA and your diffuse and all that good stuff is cranked up a little bit so it looks pretty. And then lastly, we're going to come into AOVs. So for our foreground, so what we're going to do is we're going to, let me get rid of, can I get rid of this? We're going to come into built-in, we're going to add our beauty. We're going to come into AI standard. We're at our direct diffuse, our direct specular, our indirect diffuse, our indirect specular, our reflection. Go back up to built-in, add our Z. Add our motion vector, and I think that's everything we care about. Cool. So when you render it off, you got all these guys checked off. Now remember, when you do your AO and your shadow, you only need beauty, because none of this other stuff even is a thing. Make sure you get beauty, but do make sure when you render off your first two, you have reflection checked off, because if you don't, as you can see here in our background, when we render our background off, we have our, let's move our bug up so you can see it. You see this reflection right here? It's nice, but in the render, the beauty render, literally what you're seeing here is going to be rendered, and this is going to be transparent. And it's not going to look right. You're going to have a white block with a shadow on it. But if you render off reflections, you'll just get this guy right in here, and nothing else will be in it. So that's what you want to make sure you get. And when you do shadow, it'll get this guy. So we just set this up to render the minimum, and then make sure we got this. So make sure shadow is or reflection is checked off in your AOVs. Cool. And then again, for shadow and AO, you can turn all these off and just do beauty for those. Awesome. Okay, let's say, all right, we're primed, we're ready, everything's set up to render. Cool. How do you render it? You click render, you go to render sequence and click the little options icon or options block, and then make sure render sequence has frame 1 to 2500. Add to render views checked off. Everything else is unchecked. It should be alright. You're going to click render sequence and close, and your render will begin. Now, when you click render sequence, you should see the little when guy come up here. This guy come up essentially. It'll appear like right here, and it'll be blue, and it'll be rendering it off. And you'll see a little bar down here. If something looks wrong in here, and it's like rendering, like if you see like this screen over here, like what this camera angle is right here, stop the render, make sure this is right, make sure that render view is right, and then come up here and make sure clicking this one right here, go to render, if this actually works. Yeah, see, it only happened to me at the computers at the lab. If you click render, and it's, like I said, it's rendering off the wrong camera angle for some reason, just come click this little render view right here. I don't know why it does this in the lab. It didn't happen to me at home, but just to make sure, click this. When this loads, sorry. Well, I could just tell you, but I want to make sure you actually see it correctly, and there's no confusion. It's almost done. But anyway, yes, again, it only happens in the lab. I don't know why it didn't happen to me at home, or why it only happens in the lab. It didn't happen to me at the ATC either. I really am not sure. But what it does is it'll start rendering the wrong camera for some reason. I don't know why that happens. I really don't, because you choose the camera you want rendered, and then it does it. But you'll know if it does it wrong, like I said, when you click render, and then this screen right here pops up and is over here, and it's like rendering that. So you're going to come to render, hover over render, come down to render, and then click hallway camera, and then you can start the render and it'll work. So yeah, I hope, I'm not an expert at this. I'm barely grasping everything that's going on, but I think this should help everyone a little bit. If it doesn't, I really don't know how to help you, really, because this is the extent of my knowledge on this. I hope this helps everyone. Hope you guys pass. Hope you get it all rendered. Hope you don't not sleep enough. Make sure you eat, guys. Good luck to you. I hope this little tutorial was useful. I will catch you guys in the labs. See if I can get this to end with the render going on, making everything go slow. Oh, this is taking forever. Yeah, also, the renders do not take this long. I don't know why this is taking so long. Like, this scene should not be being this long. So when you actually come to rendering, no worries. I think you'll be fine. Your computers are probably fine. The ones in the lab are fine. ATC is fine. You know, all that good stuff. So, yeah. But again, good luck to everybody. I will see you guys next time.